Hi! So Dynamite was not last night, the other night. I was going to make the video yesterday, and then I got busy with the day. I didn't finish Dynamite. I didn't even finish Dynamite till like 11 o'clock. But then also I was going to do it earlier today, or last night. But then honestly, I have not been feeling too good. But I feel a bit better now, so let's get over it and let's talk about our 3-hour special Dynamite. Hooray. So, our show actually opened up with Kenny and Ospreay meeting backstage at the doctor's office after Double or Nothing. This is similar to how they did it a while ago. I think it was after Ospreay's return, where basically Kenny and it was after Dynasty actually. I remember it, and it was basically Kenny and Ospreay having a chat where Kenny motivated Will to go for the belt. And this time they're following up on that, but obviously Kenny says, "What are you doing to Death Riders? Moxley, you don't realise what you're dealing with. Why don't you ring me? Why don't you let me help you?" And then basically, saying you can't trust Moxley. He's not the guy, you know what I mean? And then Moxley walks in and he goes, "Yeah, I agree." And then he says, "Will, can I meet you outside?" And then it's just that awkward. I don't know if this is the first time we've got Moxley, Ospreay, and Omega in the same thing. That was really cool. I don't know why. I had a real good novelty of that. But basically, it's building that. We're clearly building to Moxley and Omega interacting a bit more, but also obviously Omega and Ospreay are all in. That's clearly the end goal. And yeah, this segment wasn't long, but just honestly, I can't lie, I just really enjoyed seeing Ospreay, Omega, and Moxley at the same time. That really was a real nice little novelty for me. So after this, we actually got our most anticipated thing for a lot of people going into the night. It was Kevin Knight's promo following attacking Darby Allin and his subsequent heel turn. The theme music hitting and then getting boos was nuts. It really was. And then obviously Kevin coming out more of a Christian Cage type of fit. And he's obviously given a lot more heel speech saying Darby, end of the day, he failed you all, failed me, failed everyone. And, more that's his reasoning, which, whatever. It feels so weird seeing Kevin Knight booed. It feels so weird. And then Speedball comes out. And Speedball goes, "Kevin, what are you doing? I've been trying to help you throughout all this time. And you're going to do something like this, but it's okay. I know I can help you. Let me help you." And then Kevin attacks Speedball. So, and since then we've been confirmed Speedball and Kevin will be happening next week. If this is the direction for Kevin and Speedball to be feuding only, I'm intrigued. I am. There's obviously a bit more with Speedball and Kevin later on in the show. But I think 1v1, the match is going to be great. It feels a bit abrupt, obviously, but that was kind of the fun of it. But I think with Kevin and Speedball's whole match history and just how they are, it's going to be really interesting. And I was worried Kevin was going to be in the world title picture straight away, whilst kind of ignoring the TNT. But the fact that they're clearly just focusing on that a bit more is definitely the way to go. I mean, I'm going to enjoy this, and honestly, if someone said it, it feels like the symbiote taking over Spider-Man, and that's so fucking accurate. But either way, this Kevin Knight heel stuff, even though the small stuff we've seen of it, I'm looking forward to it. I think this could be really interesting. It's really, really weird to see because it's so different to what we're known to. That theme needs to change because it's such a tonal difference, but it's still kind of fun. It's so weird, but either way, this was fun. I liked it. After this, we actually get Ricochet and the Demand backstage, just talking about how it's bullshit they're not allowed out for the match against Jericho next. And then it is Ricochet versus Jericho 1v1. No, everyone banned from ringside. The match was fine. I'll just say this straight up. All the matches on Dynamite tonight, the other night, were okay. The Collision half is definitely the better end. It feels like they're definitely experimenting how to pace the 3-hour shows. I do appreciate that, but it started off really... Every match felt long. There's some matches that didn't really feel necessary. This one kind of did, but I don't think it should have been the opener. It was a bit weird. I do think it went on a bit too long, as you expect. Jericho being how Jericho is, he's definitely not dull to see. He's definitely entertaining. It's just sometimes against this, you need to keep it fresh with Jericho for me. Doing Ricochet so often is gonna show the cracks more. Ricochet is one of the best ever in terms of most aspects of a professional wrestler. So to kind of say that's insane, but it is true. You need to kind of switch Jericho up with some people. The match went on for a bit too long. It didn't really grab my interest, to be honest. Jericho does win with the Lion Salt though, which was pretty cool. That was obviously a bit of a long-term story. I've said this for the last 3 weeks. We need to kind of end this Ricochet story now. Hopefully this actually is it, because after the bell, as Jericho's celebrating, we do get Tommaso Ciampa attacking Jericho, which was a bit of a shock. Well, wild one. I don't think this... I've got no problem with Ciampa being against Jericho. I think Ciampa could do whatever the hell he wants. He's that good. I just don't think that benefits Ciampa. I think Ciampa should be in title pictures, especially the TNT now with Kevin. I think that's just the way to go. I just think everything with Ciampa, just even with the main pit, you could have him in the international scene. It just doesn't feel right for Ciampa to be there yet. They're gonna. I think I have faith they'll do something good with the story. I do, but I think as an actual, for Ciampa's benefit, it feels like it's kind of stolen. I think Ciampa should be in the international scene or the TNT scene. Maybe you debatably could have another one-off match. The guy's proven it, and I think the guy's on ridiculous momentum. No disrespect to Jericho, I enjoy Jericho enough. I just don't think someone as hot as like Ciampa and the momentum that he carries should be working with Jericho. But hey ho, the match, meh. It wasn't really for me, but also the Ciampa stuff intrigues me. It does. I want to know where that goes. That is intriguing, to say the least. After this, we get a real Latino man, Andrade El Idolo, backstage. He just basically says, with everything going on in the Don Callis family, it's time for me to be in the main event scene. Oh, you know. If this means, I don't know how many times I'm going to say this, if this means Andrade versus Max finally, I'm all for it. Just get it fucking done. Jesus, I need it. I'm on my knees begging. Jesus Christ. After this was fucking weird. We get they called it a specific name. It was like referencing to WCW's matches. I forget what it was called. It was a 4-way match between Orange Cassidy, Brian Cage, which I was really happy about, Lio Rush, and Rush Toro Blanco. When you mess with the bull, you get at the horns. I don't think this match should have existed. I feel like this is the problem. I'll say this straight up now. I don't think the placements and picks and stuff for Dynamite, for the 3-hour, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel great. The promos were sound. The promos were really good. I just think this match didn't feel necessary. It felt really weird. The biggest complaint is they had like one women's match, which we'll talk about the women's match because it was pretty good. But like, why is there no other women's matches? You've got a vacant TBS belt there. You've got the women's world champion nowhere to be seen on the fucking show. You've got the Owen Cup fucking women's side piping hot. There's just, two women's matches. I mean, there's so much you could do. There's so much you could have done. I don't think this was... As much as I like everyone in this, I enjoy Orange Cassidy, obviously. I think Brian Cage is great. I think Brian Cage should be back. I think Lio should be back. He is back. Lio Rush, I enjoy the fuck out. I don't care. I love Lio Rush, especially with the... He knows! I love him. And then Rush. Rush is brilliant. The match is fine. It just exists. The main thing that was fucking wild is... So, during the match, they... Obviously, Don Callis family with Brian Cage, they come out and they stop Cassidy getting in the ring and they jump him. The number one who jumps him, fucking Jake Doyle's back. Like, why? This is what I'm saying. Why are you doing it like that? It was literally like, is that Jake Doyle? It's like, there was no eyes towards it. Jake Doyle's a bigger get. Like, as good as Mark Davis has been, and is partly due to Jake Doyle, that should have been an interaction. I just don't get it. I just didn't get that. I think Jake Doyle should have... They could have had Jake Doyle wrestling the match. They could have had this a tag match. You could have had this Jake Doyle and Brian Cage. You know, Brian Cage in a mysterious part. Everyone figured it could be Lance Archer. No, Jake Doyle. That could have been cool. I don't know. I just don't think this 4-way, it felt padded. And I don't like when AEW does these 3-hour shows and you can watch a match or a segment that feels like that's padding. That's really bad padding. And it was really bad padding. Straight up to say, the match, the talent in it is great. It's nice to see Brian Cage, Lio Rush on screen. Rush has been on screen for weeks, getting a bit of momentum, and Orange Cassidy's always a treat. It's not a problem with that, and I'm happy Jake Doyle's returning. I just don't think they should have put all these things together. But I don't know. The match was fine. I forget who won. I think it was Cassidy who won. I don't really care. But yeah, I just don't think they should have presented Jake Doyle's return like that. But hopefully they give him something to actually do, and hopefully kind of return him with Mark Davis, because that was really fun. I really enjoyed that. After this, we actually get MJF backstage, where he's backstage and he runs into Kevin Knight. Now, when he runs into Kevin Knight, he obviously says, Kevin, I want to thank you, you know, stuff like that. Just basically congratulating on the heel run, and Max, and Kevin's basically saying, Max, look, I'm going to be back there after you one time. And then he's walking through, Kyle Fletcher appears, and Kyle Fletcher stares at the belt. He goes, nice belt you got there, Kev. And then Don Callis comes and goes, hey, look at all this young talent. I love Don's delivery. And he basically scouts, what do you call yourself? J2 belts. Well, if you want to perceive that, give us a call. So if they're teasing Kevin joining the Don Callis family, I don't know. I don't know to feel like that. Obviously, Takeshita's out, and obviously Andrade looks to be on the way out. If they replace Andrade and Takeshita with Kevin Knight, big pull. But I don't know. I just don't think Kevin... I think Kevin should at least go with someone a bit more... I don't know, a bit smaller to get more focus. Because the Don Callis, I mean... Don Callis got El Con, bro. Like, I'm gonna give a shit about El Con before anyone in that. But Jesus, yeah, that was fun. Obviously, I think the settle between Kyle and Kevin for the TNT belt is fun. But... get Kyle on that world scene, or obviously the international scene. But yes, that's definitely the way to go. Fun little segment. After this, we actually just get the Brawling Birds backstage talking about the mystery opponent for the Owen, because it is against Alex Windsor. And she's like, she feels bad for Willow. I don't like how Alex Windsor's and Jamie Hayter have been speaking since becoming the Brawling Birds, I will say that. I think they're very much, especially I'm British shock, but like they're like, oh, cheerio, mate. It's like, what? And then she obviously wishes luck to Ospreay, saying my hubby and the whole Will Ospreay. I was looking to keep an eye on Jamie Hayter to see her reaction when she was speaking, in case the Owen opponent was Jamie. I don't think it is. But, yeah, that was it, really. I'm looking forward to that. Looks to be happening on Wednesday's Dynamite next week, so I'm looking forward to seeing who that will actually be. After this, we actually get our MJF promo, where he instantly dumps the belt, brings back the Triple B, the big blueberry belt. Blueberry, Burberry, fuck you. Yeah, and he basically just calls out, saying Darby's profoundly over, I am the real champ who presents the company well, etc., etc. And he's going to go through and then present the company, get these belts in order. Now, the person who runs out after this is Mark Briscoe, which was a fucking shock to me. Didn't expect that in the slightest. I predicted fucking Mystico or Andrade. Again, they should have fucking done Andrade. But, hey-ho. And Briscoe goes, Max, I beat you in that table and tax match. The word of the day. Oh, that shit. I want to diversify my portfolio. And, yeah, really did. Calling out my him, obviously. And then Max and Briscoe, obviously got history. He goes, white trash. Calls him straight up white trash. And he's like, Mark, you are not the way. You are not the person to present the company with this belt. No way. And I was like, okay, I enjoyed the Max and Briscoe matches. It was a bit weird. But, like, I enjoyed the match, definitely. Especially the tables and tax one. That was sick. And then, after that, Rush obviously comes out. Rush calling out Darby. And he goes, Max, you chicken shit. You mess with the bull, you get the horns. I was wondering what they were going to do with Rush after this. I really was. And... Max goes, Rush, you have deserved it. You want this match with me tonight. Psych, we're not getting it tonight, but we'll get it next week. Pretty cool, we're getting Rush and Max back. It feels a bit... We had this match before a while ago. Max returned, actually. So, it feels like they're going to run that back. But, I feel like... I don't know, it feels like we're just going to get Rush over and done with. And I think we could have done a bit more with that. The big one is, obviously, are we going to be building... Because the next pay-per-view is not far away. It is Forbidden Door. And Forbidden Door is a very exciting time if they handle it well. I feel like with Forbidden Door, they need to... Briscoe isn't a match for me that should be on Forbidden Door for the world belt. It isn't. I'll say that straight up. I love Mark Briscoe. I think Mark Briscoe is brilliant. And he just sums up what AEW should be up in night bow for me. But for him, for Forbidden Door, I don't think that's the call. Rush, no. For me, it should have been Mystico. That made the most sense. Forbidden Door, the CMLL guy. You could have even made it a triple threat with a New Japan guy. I don't know. But I just don't think it should be Briscoe. I love Briscoe. Unless this is on a Dynamite before it, I'm not against that. But I just don't think that's the guy for the Forbidden Door match. But hey, there's still time to build to it. I want to know where this goes. This is a Max promo. It's back to normality, as you expect. It is back to, let's get him back. His little thing gets, his whole little promo gets cut short. But yeah, it's nice, I guess. And Rush getting a match next week. More than deserved. And it will be a fun match yet again. Because we had that match a few years ago, and I enjoyed it. After this, we actually get Jack Perry in his calling out Mark Davis for his match, and he does a little Rocky-styled vignette. That was pretty fun. But after that, we actually get our first Owen Hart Cup match of the night. We got Claudio Castagnoli of the Death Riders versus Brody King. Now, did I enjoy this match? Yes, it is. It's probably the match of the... Well, it's not match of the night. What am I on about? But for the Dynamite half, definitely. I do enjoy how it's just basically two big-ass men elbowing and then striking the fuck out of each other. There's not much else to it. And it really is fun. It does go on for a bit long, I will say. But again, padding expected. And obviously Claudio and Brody have a good little bit of chemistry. And that's what I enjoy. Brody gets the win. Shock and Brody, obviously, and Swerve building their match up again. I was surprised that it was... I don't know. I don't know if I was surprised that it was so just hit. I'm not. But I just feel like as an actual bell to bell, it was definitely so simple, but it had to be. It's two big-ass men. It's just big-ass men wrestling. And it's not a surprise, not a bad thing in the slightest. And Brody going through to Swerve, obviously a rematch. Claudio looked pretty decent, pretty bog standard, pretty lackluster in terms of the presentation, I will say that. But bell to bell, match was fine. Match was good standard, so it's substandard. Good standard, that's all that matters. Pretty good, Brody going through. Claudio had the match. Pretty good. After this, we actually got our Cajun Cope tag team title celebration. Returning with the 5-second pose, which we've been doing for weeks anyway. This was fun. Obviously, the big thing is, so they call out, and then Christian starts when he goes, people of Philadelphia, keep your mouth shut while I conduct my business, as he does. And obviously, Edge cuts him off and goes, what are you doing? And just basically says, oh, it's nice, this is pretty fun. And then, and then he goes, we're going to do our 5-second pose. Christian goes, I'm not doing that. And he goes, they don't even take facial choreography anyway. And then he goes, well, let's be wrong. Edge goes under the ring and gets a big-ass bag full of disposable cameras and starts handing them out. Taz is livid for some odd fucking reason. He goes, don't hand me one of those. And then they go to do the pose. Oh, they're about to. And then Connors and David Finlay interrupt the dogs. And they attack Cope and Cage. And then basically they get their 5-second pose. And they basically call in their shot for the titles. I'm not against it being the dogs who are the first opponents. I'm not. I just think it's a bit weird to build that feud in a way. I feel like the Bucks... I thought it was building up the Bucks to come out and save them. That's what I thought was going to happen. But no. Yeah, a bit weird. I thought FTR would make an appearance in somewhat, and they don't either. So I think that's deserving of a break at least. But the dogs are an unexpected call, but I'm not against it. I thought, honestly, you could have still had loads of other tag teams. But I thought the Hayter and Alex could have been a good call either, because... the Stadium Stampede, but they're not even on the show, which was a bit wild. But as an actual little segment, I'm a bit upset we didn't get more on the mic from the two of them, but hey-ho. But Clark Connors and get David Finlay, I'm just not getting into it. I love Clark Connors. I think Clark Connors is brilliant, but I think David Finlay's just leaving a lot for me to be desired, so I'm just waiting for that to click, and I've been waiting since he debuted now, so I don't think it's happening. But... as an actual segment, fine. It's a nice little throwback. They just don't get to complete it. I wonder how this goes, because they just beat the shit out of them too. Like, Cope's just absolutely down and out. I thought they were going to build that. They clearly fucked Christian's hands up too. I know he's still in the cast. They'd done a stomp on the steps while his hand was underneath it. It was like, geez, you could hear him screaming. It was bad. So I don't know if they were building up, like, Christian's just going to vacate his belt and hand it to someone else, maybe. I don't know. But, fine. Definitely interesting, and it wasn't expected. That's the main thing. It wasn't expected to go down the route with the dogs, and I'm looking forward to where that goes. And obviously a lot of this Dynamite is promos, which is not a problem, but it's fine. The dogs, not expected, but pretty nice surprise, and I hope this goes well, and I hope it just makes me click with the dogs. That's the main thing. I hope this is the moment where I'm like, oh, the dog's actually pretty cool. After this, we actually get Swerve backstage with Nana, and then he basically calls out Brody saying, be ready for our match again, rematch, stuff like that, and calling his chance for the title and the Owen. That's kind of it, really. Not against it, but that is essentially what it is. Very nicely shot, though. Shot really cool, and I like how Swerve's promos are shot. They're really cool. I hope we get a promo segment between the two of them, actually. That's what I would like. Swerve and Brody to get another promo segment between the two of them. That would be pretty cool. After this, we actually get TJ in their tag team showcase match against two indie talents. I forget who it was, admittedly. Fine, literally a minute. TJ, just the calling out for the fucking Divine Dominion. This could have been a Divine Dominion match and not had the 4-way. I don't fucking know. The point is, TJ are definitely going to be building towards their title shot against Bayne and Lena Kross, and that's fine. It gives at least both sets of ladies something to do. Could have given this an actual match though, but hey ho, what do you do? After this, we actually get our Speedball backstage promo where he responds to Kevin Knight going, because like says Kevin Knight, he goes, Kevin, you've made your decision. I try to help you, but you won't. Next week, and he basically confirms the match for him and Kevin next week on Dynamite. That is pretty cool. This will be an interesting story. Definitely. I'm looking forward to how this actually goes. After this, we actually get our final main event for the actual Dynamite segment of tonight, which was Mark Davis, AEW National Champion, versus Jack Perry for their Owen Hart Cup match. This match was fine. It wasn't as good as their other matches. It did go on for too long. A good few minutes too long, admittedly. It did feel like that. Again, pardon. But I do think... I've not got a problem with it. I do enjoy Mark Davis. I enjoy Jack Perry. I just didn't get into this match. I didn't. Again, I think the time didn't help it. It was like in and out. You're like, oh, maybe, oh, maybe, And it's like, that's kind of its problem. Mark Davis looks great, as you expect. I really like Mark Davis, and I like Jack Perry too. They really put over how good Jack Perry is here. And I'm like, Jack Perry's good every match, you know what I mean? Jack Perry is really good. I'm a fan of Jack. But Mark Davis obviously is so... They have great chemistry. This is the thing. They have good chemistry. I just think this match just didn't work. I don't think it should have been the main event. Again, it was too long. It really was too long. Again, this was like 15 minutes. And then you've got other matches like that 4-way going on. And then you get the women's tag team match, which is only a showcase. But it's like it's not even a minute. It's like... I don't know, it just didn't feel right. But this is the Dynamite main event for the Owen. Obviously, whoever wins this faces Will Ospreay. And as you expect, Mark Davis is the one who wins. Pretty cool. Obviously, them two have history, and we'll call back to that later. But yeah, the match, fine. Obviously, I thought it was obvious Mark Davis was going to win. Jack Perry could never win that due to the belt and stuff. I don't really know how to feel about this as a Dynamite overall. It's fine. But after this, obviously, the Don's on commentary, as you expect. But then after it, as you expect with the Don Callis family, they all come in the ring, and Kyle Fletcher makes his promo. And Don goes, I have something important to say. That rat bastard, Konosuke Takeshita. And, he says he was never the chosen one. That has always been Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher walks out and explains his reasoning for attacking Takeshita. Now, his reasoning was pretty much... Takeshita's always selfish. I love Takeshita. I wanted to be on the top of the business with him, but he didn't want to do that. Bullshit. The amount of people who hate Kyle over this is insane. I am one of them. But, yeah, Fletcher basically calls out Takeshita saying, end of the day, I'm coming for you, and stuff like that. No Okada, which was pretty weird. I thought Okada would have made at least an appearance. He doesn't. And then Takeshita hits the entrance, which I was surprised about, and he just stands there staring at Kyle. I was like, oh, fuck. And then it's Kyle, Davis, Rocky Romero, and I think it was one more. I think it might have been, I forget who it was. It might have been Hechicera, I forget, or probably Lance Archer. I forget who it was, but it was basically 3-on-1 with Takeshita. And then Takeshita looks back, and the conglomeration join him, which was Roddy, Cassidy, Kyle, and I think Briscoe, which was really fucking cool. I really enjoyed that. I think it's weird to have Takeshita just find new friends like that. Obviously, with the stuff with the Don Callis family and the conglomeration being so long-standing at this point, it makes sense. I thought Takeshita would have teamed up with the Elite, especially the Bucks, so that would have made a bit more sense. The Bucks and Takeshita would have been so cool, but... and clearly building that's going to be the way. They announced the conglomeration versus the Don Callis family next week with no Takeshita. So, the feud between Kyle and Takeshita feels instant. Let's go for it. Takeshita's on a hell of a fucking run. I'm still can't get over that fucking match. Yeah, segment was better than the match. And whatever they do with Takeshita, being with the conglomerate is very fun. It's very interesting. I hope they eventually do team up with the Elite. I think that makes sense, obviously, with him being technically Kenny's protege. You could obviously do you could do Kenny and Takeshita versus Moxley and Ospreay. That's insane. We need to do that. Oh my god. But I don't know. I don't just want that. I don't care. This is the way to go. This is the way to go. This is probably my favorite thing they've done on the entire night. But yeah. The Takeshita stuff, let's set it up. Let's get this international scene thriving. I cannot wait to see what they do. After this, we actually get Will Ospreay backstage, where he obviously calls out Mark Davis after Mark Davis is confirmed to fight with him next week in the Owen. Calls Mark Davis a fat bastard. And then basically says, you are not getting in my way, and no one is, instead of the Owen. Yeah, I like this. However, after this, it is Ospreay with Moxley. Moxley jumps in and goes, you're alright, and because they've got their match... next, versus the Rascals in a trios match where Ospreay is teaming with them, which is pretty big step. And it's Moxley and Pac with them. And he goes, obviously Moxley's big on him, and he goes to shake Pac's hand, and Pac just looks at him and just snarls him and walks away. So the teasing that. And the match is next. So it's the Death Riders, and Death Riders straight up, Ospreay's in it at this point, versus the Rascals. I do enjoy how they portray the story bell to bell here, where so they attack the Rascals straight up, Moxley and Pac, and Ospreay's like, what the hell? And then they have the match. Ospreay gets the shit beaten out of him. and he tries to tag out. And when he does tag out originally, Pac smacks the fuck out of him. So there's clearly tension between Pac and Ospreay. And through the match, as Ospreay tries to tag out, Pac does respect him. And then, like, the teaming up for moves, they both do a dive out. You know, they look at him. The Death Riders get the win. Moxley looks pretty good. It's mainly about Ospreay teaming with Pac. That's the biggest hurdle here. Pac looks brilliant, as you expect. He's the fucking man. I love Pac. And then at the end of the match, the Death Riders win, and he shakes Pac's hand. They both shake hands. So it's clearly something building. If we get Pac and Ospreay as a tag team as often, holy fuck. Holy fucking indeed. That's what I want. But yeah, big step for them to actually team together. I'm a fan of it. Bell to bell, it was a good match. This was actually a pretty good match. I enjoyed this. And honestly, I'm looking forward to this. The story can do no wrong for me, especially with the Kenny stuff. So I'm looking forward to where they go with it. But I hope, dear God, that they do something pretty fucking good here. And the matches here, this was a great example. So hopefully more stuff like this. But bell to bell, the way they told the Pac and Ospreay story was pretty good. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was very well executed. After this, though, we actually get something that straight up pissed me off. We get the Ops backstage, Joe, Bowens, Shibata, and Hook. And basically Joe goes, I'm going away for 4 months. Hook, you got this, you know, hold this down. What the fuck? We just got Joe back and he's going again. What's the point? What is actually, like, genuinely though, what was the point of bringing him back for one match in the own just to build an Ospreay feud that's going to go fucking nowhere with the Death Riders stuff? To just say, Joe, yeah, I'm off, and then we're going to be stuck with Hook again. It fucking sucks. Like, that genuinely, to me, just pissed me off. I don't think it's a bad call, because I don't think it's helped. He's probably going off to film Twisted Metal again, which is fine. I need to watch that, actually. But I just don't get it. I just don't get that, because we brought Joe back for one thing. We could have played him off as an injury. We could have really sold Ospreay attacking the fuck out of him and really injuring him. That could have been a really well-worked angle. And you could have had the Ops, you know, going at it. You could have had the Ops versus Death Riders this week. That would have made sense. But I just feel like just saying, Joe, I've got to go away for a few months. It's just a bit lazy. And I don't enjoy it. I think Joe shouldn't just willingly go away like that so soon after returning. And again, they could have made it a bit more interesting by going, oh yeah, okay, let's leave it to Bowens or Shibata instead of, well, it should be Shibata anyway, over Hook, and that could create the tension. No, it's just straight back to Hook, and what's Hook gonna do? Nothing. And I just don't get it. I just don't get it. For me, I didn't like it. I don't like it. And again, I've got bias. Samoa Joe to me is one of the best ever, one of my favourites ever. Don't give a shit. This, I just don't like. I don't like the fact that we're losing Joe again, but also just how, I'm going away for a few months, Hook, let's go back to what we had. When what we had before was ass. Let's straight it up. It was ass. And we could have made it a bit more interesting. We don't. What's the point in caring? But yeah, I don't want to lose Joe. Don't take my Joe away. I swear to God. After this, we actually get the Divine Dominion attacking TJ backstage. Obviously just building their feud. Okay. Who gives a shit? Not me. We could have just had that as an actual match. But hey ho, we're building this for probably a Collision main event, and that's it. After this though, we get a banger. We get Andrade versus Ace Austin. As Andrade basically put out a little open challenge on his little promo on Dynamite, and Ace Austin, and I'm a happy fan of that. All the Bang Bang Gang come out for Ace Austin's entrance. That's pretty cool. Where's Jay? Where's he gonna come out? He's coming out, right? That's what I feel like if he's having mentioned Jay White. As you expect, these two got good chemistry. It didn't. It might have been me. I kind of fell out a bit of this match. 3-hour shows are hard, and again, they're trying to find out the right way to pace these shows, and I do understand that's why the start was a bit too slow. But at this point, it's still 3 hours in. You know what I mean? This should have been your opener for me. This could have been your opener. This could have been on Dynamite, and it should have been, frankly, for me. But match bell to bell, I enjoy Andrade. I enjoy Houston. I should probably go watch this back. They're both two wrestlers I really enjoy on Dynamite. I think they'll have a incredible match from bell to bell. I just can't remember it straight away. But either or, I look forward to see how they actually do it. I do. Going forward anyway. I want them to do this again, or at least I should rewatch it. That's what I'm trying to say. I should rewatch this match, and I probably will. Not because what I remember I enjoyed. That's the thing. I don't remember loving it, but I remember being like, oh, that's pretty good. You know, two good wrestlers having a good wrestling match. That's pretty good. But especially what followed it, the next match, obviously, and then this match here, it just felt a little bit sandwiched. I don't think it should have been placed. It kind of hurt from the placement, but either way, Andrade and Ace Austin getting minutes. That's cool. That's what I like. I will go back and rewatch this, admittedly, and I might not do a match ramble, but yeah, from what I remember, I enjoyed it enough, and it was fine. However, after this, we actually got our main events for the entire evening. We got Hikaru Shida and Kris Statlander in a Philadelphia Lights Out street fight. I think straight up this match was a bit... It didn't feel... I don't think we should have done Philly street fight straight away. I don't. As much as I enjoy a good Lights Out match, I feel like after Swerve and Hangman, obviously, highest to the highest bar, it's going to have a high bar with a Lights Out match, even the one at Forbidden Door last year. So I just don't know. I just didn't feel like this was the right call. I think we could have done an original match, then built a Lights Out match for Forbidden Door, admittedly, or could have even done that, later down. It just felt like a bit different. The match is obviously, as you expect, the fluorescent light tube spot's probably the main spot. They have great chemistry. I love Statlander here. Statlander's one of the best, and so's Shida. But I just feel like, I don't know, it didn't feel like a Philadelphia street fight, admittedly either. I don't know if it is because of the State Commission, similar to how Double or Nothing was. There was not enough blood. I think there should have been a lot of blood. I think for Philadelphia, a Lights Out match especially should have blood. But for Philadelphia, for a street fight, it should have blood. It should. And it makes me sound like a psycho as I'm wearing a shirt with blood on it. But it's true. I do feel like it should have blood. I feel like it did lack that. I feel like Statlander and Shida have great chemistry. I'm enjoying the story. It feels a bit straight away to go, let's just go fuck it and just attack the hell out of each other. Statlander and Shida it just didn't feel like the right instant go. And that's what I feel weird about it. It felt like we could have done something else, done this as a straight up, I don't know what match you could have done. Like, they build up a lot of chair spots, and they build up a big table spot towards the end. The fluorescent light tube spot was probably the best. But I just don't know. I don't think... And the ending was fucking weird, by the way. They have Harley Cameron... So, Statlander's got... I think this was the... No, it wasn't even the fluorescent light tubes. It was just this kendo stick. Or a chair, I forget. And then... Oh, yeah, because Statlander fucking launches a chair at Shida, which was a good spot. But, and that basically is the main spot that goes, oh, basically. But at the end, so Statlander's about to fucking hit the hell out of Shida. And then Shida's down and out. And then Harley Cameron runs out, and she goes, Stat, no, do this, use this, and she gives her basically a harder kendo stick. And then she hits it, and that's it, and then there's nothing really to it. It's like, wait, what? It just didn't feel right. It was like, are we building Harley Turner? Are we building Statlander hitting Harley instead? I don't fucking know. It just felt a bit... And I understand the story, what we're doing. Harley Cameron's the one who's being disrespected. She's friends with Stat. That makes sense. It's just... The way it presented was so weird. And then... After it, Harley celebrating with Stat. Stat looks out of it. She doesn't really hug her back or anything. So that's definitely the more interesting thing out of it all. But it was just so weird. And it's a good match. Like, that's straight up. It is a good match. It's not... For me, it's not match of the night. I don't know. I think it probably is the trios match with the Death Riders. I enjoyed that. But I don't know. It just didn't feel earned. I just don't know. It just didn't feel fully realised either. That's the main thing I'd say. I feel like you could have done a lot more. I feel like could have made this feel like a lot more of a blood feud. Statlander can do this type of stuff, and so can Shida. There's no doubt that they can. I just think the presentation, the placement obviously didn't help it. And just how it, again, lack of blade jobs. I just don't think it felt like a street lights. It didn't feel like a Lights Out match, and that's what's important to me. If you're going to advertise it as that, and you've got previous experience of Lights Out matches being so hardcore, especially with Swerve and Hangman, I'm not saying have it the same level as Swerve and Hangman, because that's like an insane bar. But it's like, at least have it a bit of blood, at least have it be brutal, at least have it feel earned. Because to me, whenever I think of a Lights Out steel cage match, or just a Lights Out match, that's it. You should have even put it in a cage. There was no cage. It was like, what the fuck? It just didn't feel... It felt like they just did it because, well, we're in Philly. Like, that was it. You could have done this with fucking Mark Davis and Jack Perry. You could have. And that's not disrespect. It just didn't feel like... It didn't feel realised, like I said. And it's not their problem. It's not both women's problem. They're both great in this match. And the match is pretty good. It just doesn't... And I might be in the minority here. I just felt like you could have done a lot more here. Especially what was advertised. And I'm just a bit disappointed in it. Not from the bell-to-bell stuff. I just feel like the Harley stuff was a bit weird. The lack of blood. And just the lack of intensity. It didn't have this mass intensity to me. But, again, with all the padding you could have done. And it is the main part of, like, it's like 20 minutes. So it gets a good amount of time, which was good. But I just think you could have done a lot more. You could have had this build-up for the night too. That should have been done. But yeah, interesting. I don't know. Mina could have had an appearance too, actually. But yeah, that's the way they end the night. It was fine. I think the match is pretty good. I hope this isn't the end for Stat and Shida, actually. That's my thing. I hope this isn't the end. That's the biggest thing. I hope this does continue past this, and I think it actually should. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Dynamite and Collision this week as the 3-hour special. Definitely a lot more negative than usual, and I think that's completely warranted. I'm not trying to say it was a bad show. It wasn't. It was just kind of mid, and I think the lack of women's something that really... I'm going to make a separate video on this. I have to. It needs to be addressed. It needs to be sorted. You have a 3-hour show that's padded up to hell with a fucking 4-way match that just sucked. And not sucked, but, just felt out of nowhere. And then you're like, okay, so why do you not... You've got the Women's World Champ doing nothing this week. At least there's nothing advertised. I just don't get it. I just didn't agree with it. The Jake something reveal was a bit like, what? There's just... It starts off, they really experiment with the placements and how to format these 3-hour shows, which I do appreciate as a viewer. I do appreciate that, but it's also like, don't forget the fundamentals of making things work and not making things make sense. This was worse than what they normally do on a 3-hour show, which is something that needs to be said. Is it bad? No, it's not bad. It's just not something that grips you. It's not, the wrestling's still good. The wrestling is still good, I will say that. It's just from story perspectives, a lot of promos. It's always going to be a promo heavy because of post-pay-per-view. And especially a big one, like Double or Nothing, Jesus. But, I just feel like the matches and the presentation and the picks were just a bit wild to me. Not for me, but hey-ho. Collision this week still going ahead on Saturday, which is good. And they've got a good match to confirm on there. I'll talk about that on the weekend. I cannot wait. But, bell to bell... Pretty good. Not an insane. Definitely not one of the most standouts. I was debating missing it after being late to it, obviously. But yeah, I'm not going to say go back and watch anything. The developments are there. But as matches, the Owen stuff really is there to just kind of get it over with. Padded. It's not insane, but it's not bad. And I just hope that they learn from this, as they clearly have been with the 3-hour shows and going forward. It was definitely an experiment. You can't win them all. Not really. I'm not going to sit here and go, well, AEW is the worst company ever. God, no, it's the fucking shit. But, I don't know. It just feels like it was an experiment. I didn't feel like it paid off. But, hey-ho, you can't win them all. Let's go forward. And hopefully, no more 3-hour shows. Bro, for personal moaning, I'm on 8 till 4s in work, right, this week. I was, anyway. Right. And why the fuck are we doing 3-hour shows when me... I would have had to get up at 4 a.m. I didn't wake up because my phone fucking didn't go on the alarms. But, Jesus, 4 a.m. to watch a 3-hour show. Oh, my God. Tony, you're listening to me. Sort it out, please. I love the company, but Jesus, don't push my fucking buttons, pal. Listen here, pal. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on Dynamite and Collision's 3-hour show this week. Again, sorry for being a bit later than usual. Let me know what you thought of the show. What was your highlight? And what do you think of the developments going forward? That's the main thing here. What do you think of what happened on the Dynamite?